John Wight, writer and journalist, joins us now from Edinburgh. Mr. Wight, welcome to the program. This vote is being described as probably the most important in a generation. What's on the line in this election?
Well, it certainly is the most important British general election in a generation. It will determine the future of this country for a generation to come, its direction of travel, whether it's going to follow in the path of Boris Johnson and be sold off to Donald Trump and US corporations with regard to the National Health Service, which is a towering monument to a service that is established in the name not of profit but in the name of social solidarity. That is under threat if Boris Johnson wins this election. It also will determine whether we are a country that continues down a path of austerity, which has accounted for the lives of 120,000 people in Britain over the last decade of Tory government, in the same decade that the 1,000 richest people in Britain saw their combined wealth increase by over 180%. The country is crying out for hope, it's crying out for a sense of optimism, it's crying out for investment, and it's crying out for a politics that's rooted not in human greed but in human need. Nothing could be more stark than that. The country is staring into an abyss, and this election will determine whether it pulls back from that abyss.
Mr. Wight, coupled with the issue of Brexit is the frustration of the British public. Do you think that political allegiances might be meaningless in this election as the voters just want to get the issue Brexit done and out of the way?
Well, the two contending messages of either candidate Jeremy Corbyn and Boris Johnson are on one side. Jeremy Corbyn, he's trying to penetrate the fog surrounding Brexit, the fog of emotion surrounding Brexit, to focus on issues such as the National Health Service, which I just mentioned, austerity, homelessness, poverty, inequality. Boris Johnson's mantra is get Brexit done. His team feel that the British public are tired of Brexit and they want any solution to this crisis, which has been ongoing now for 3 years since the EU referendum in 2016, and they're looking for someone to come along who offers them a supposed easy solution, i.e. we'll just get it done and then we can move on. But that's a very dangerous message that he is peddling, because it's not as easy as that. It's a very complex issue. And Boris Johnson, I have to say, has fought a campaign that has plumbed new depths of indecency in terms of the lies, the mistruths and half-truths that he has been able to get away with because of a British state media that is certainly not fit for purpose in the 21st century.
And the issue of Scotland as well. Scotland definitely has to be a key battleground where the vote hinges on the issue of independence. The British Prime Minister Boris Johnson has also said that if he's re-elected, there will not be another referendum on independence for the Scots. Do you think that the Scottish voters want to get rid of the Tories?
Absolutely. If Boris Johnson wins this election, I would advise all those Union Jack waving, Rule Britannia, Dam Buster songs singing Brexiteers not to get too celebratory, because immediately the day that the result is announced, the train of Scottish independence will leave the station and it will come clattering down the track with the kind of inevitability it never had in 2014 in the first referendum of Scottish independence. It's increasingly taken on the character of an idea whose time has come. So it's interesting, isn't it, that these Brexiteers who believe that Brexit will affect Britain's independence from Europe will actually be hastening the breakup of the UK. Just think on that for a moment.
And one last question. What are your thoughts on the issue of, in a hypothetical situation that Boris Johnson and his party does get a majority in the British Parliament, the issue of a no-deal Brexit? Is that still on the table or not?
It certainly is. He has made it clear that he is willing to go to that level. He has obviously agreed a deal with the EU. The common consensus is it's an even worse deal than his predecessor, Theresa May, negotiated and was voted down 3 or 4 times by the Parliament. But if he gets a majority, he'll be able to ram that deal through, and he will affect Britain's departure from the EU on January the 31st, which he has promised to do. But this will set up a whole bunch of contradictions, Scottish independence and the issue of Ireland, because the Good Friday Agreement, which has been extant and has held the peace in the north of Ireland after 30 years of conflict known as the Troubles, is under threat if there is a hard border reimposed on the island of Ireland. And even all the security services and people who are expert on this issue and are situated there are saying that they're warning of the consequences of the reimposition of a hard border between a partitioned 6 counties in the north of Ireland, controlled by London, and the other 26 counties that make up the Republic of Ireland, which is still an EU member state. So this is not the end of this issue, this crisis. It's only the beginning of the end.
All right, thanks a lot. John Wight, writer and journalist, joining us from Edinburgh.